Right, welcome back to Falcon Blues TV, and I'm delighted to have a very special guest, Everton legend, FA Cup winner, and one of my heroes growing up as a kid. It's Joe Parkinson. No, Joe, honestly, there's players that always they always give you that sentimental feel about what it means to be an Evertonian, and you, for me, you epitomise that with your playing style. There's just and I'll speak a little bit more about that a little bit later on. But Joe, thank you for joining me today. Yeah, you keeping okay?
Yeah, things going really well. Keeping really busy. Still working at the club on match days in the lounges, and I'm head coach at Everton Football College, which is going really, really well, getting bigger and better.
Great stuff. And you played. We've just off air. Then you played today against Fowler's College. Should we mention it? I think we can't.
Yeah, it was a good day today. We were leading and ended up getting beat, so really disappointing. And I still take it as hard as it was a first team game, really.
I can imagine.
You don't want to get beat by your rivals, do you?
No, not at all. And we'll talk about that one a little bit later on as well. But as I was just saying before, today I'm going to make us both sound older. It's 29 years since Everton beat Bristol City in the FA Cup. During that cup run, that famous cup run for Everton, and that's still great on me that there hasn't been anything. We haven't won anything since. But we'll start from the beginning, Joe, because I think it's the best way to do it, because then we can ramp up to the glory of winning the FA Cup. But you were signed from Bournemouth on deadline day in 1994. How did that come about?
Well, it's strange, really, because I was playing for Bournemouth at the time, and we had an away game at Burnley, so that was a decent travel on I think it was a Tuesday night. And the manager was Tony Pulis at the time, and he was sort of pushing me. I fractured my shoulder, and he was pushing me to play, which was unusual. I always wanted to play anyway, but I just knew I wasn't right. And Bournemouth at the time didn't have a penny whatsoever, and they had a little brace made for me, which I was thinking, this is great. They treated me brilliant, seeing they've got no money. I didn't realise why, but it's only later I learned it was the fact that Jimmy Gabriel was coming watching me at Burnley to make a final decision. And to be fair, we got beat 5-0, but I had actually an half-decent game, especially considering what was wrong with my shoulder. Mm-hmm. And then I go home that night, get back early hours, get up in the morning with a young family, and knock at my door, and it's Tony Pulis. And he just says, Joe, do you fancy going to Everton? Everton want to buy you? And I went, what? What a shock. Wasn't expecting anything. He says, so obviously I said, yeah. And he said, well, you need to get to Heathrow by a certain time. I hadn't got a clue how to get to Heathrow. Luckily, my next door neighbour was home, and he said, I'll take you. And next minute, I'm sat on the plane with Anders Limpar, flying up to the northwest, which was great, back home, and into the Bell Tower in Kirby. And,
not far from where I live, by the way. Yeah.
It's the Sweets now, isn't it? Basically, Anders was in for about 5 hours negotiating. I was in for 5 minutes, and I signed for Everton.
Was it the lure of Everton and coming back up north that you didn't need much persuasion to join the club?
There was a number of things. Everton for a start. I grew up a United fan, so Everton was obviously the red side I didn't really like. So Everton was good. I'd only just been watching them as well on the television. Then it's the Premier League. It's a step for me in the right direction, and it's coming back home as well. So everything was just perfect for me. I hadn't been in Bournemouth long, especially the family. So we were straight back up. I stayed up and then brought my family up as soon as I could, and obviously settled back down in the northwest.
Mm-hmm. Mike Walker came out and said, well, during the time you were signing, that it was going to take you a little while to adjust to the Premier League, but almost like a duck to water, Joe. It didn't take you long to get involved in the side, but
I think.
Were you surprised at how quick you adjusted to the Premier League?
No, do you know what? I think I struggled, and I might have been in and around the team, but I was in the reserves. I really struggled. Everton's a massive club, and it was a big step for me, and that's why I think I have a bit more leeway with the foreign players that come over here. and struggled to fit in. I'm from the Northwest. I'd only been in Bournemouth 6 months, and I struggled.
Yeah.
So it's a big upheaval, and I think I struggled. And then I think once I started integrating in the dressing room properly, getting to know everybody, they were accepting me, and things went from strength to strength. Really, I had a decent pre-season. In the fact that I got on with everyone then, and sort of felt part of it. That was the biggest. Still don't think I was playing all right, but I started to feel, it was a club I wanted to be at.
Yeah, I think as well, with the fact that we weren't getting results, we were struggling for points, and leading right up to the final day of the season against Wimbledon. There's probably that confidence and that sort of, oh, I've got to take a big step here to go from where I was at Bournemouth to now Premier League survival. So I assume that's probably one of the big pressures that are on you as well, I suppose.
Absolutely, I was still only a young lad. People might expect you to be able to cope with everything, but everyone's totally different, aren't they? So yeah, it was a struggle. And like I say, you mentioned in the Wimbledon, and I wasn't in the team. I was, I was in the reserves at the time, away at Sheffield United on that famous day. We were keeping the reserves in the Pontins League, I think it was called at the time, and then quickly rushing off to get round the radio to find out how the first team was getting on. So I wasn't part of it. It's a massive part of Everton's history now, not the greatest history, if you know what I mean. But we managed to stay up. What a wonderful time, and we just got stronger after that.
Yeah, it still took us a little while the following season, didn't it? Because obviously we weren't picking up wins, we weren't getting the right results, and Mike Walker just wasn't the right manager for Everton. So what was the feeling like within the club, like leading up to that? Obviously the team's not getting the results, the fans clearly aren't going to be happy, and then Joe Royle steps in.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it that there were a lot of senior lads at the club that the manager couldn't get on with, Mike Walker, and it was a struggle. You could see things weren't right. I don't think the team was they weren't playing that well. I don't think they weren't sort of behind him. I think he was out of his depth. To be honest, I'm always grateful that he brought me to the football club, but I don't think he realised how big a football club this is. And obviously he went, and then what a person to bring in, someone who understands it all, really. Been very successful as a manager at lower leagues as well, and an ex-player, Evertonian. It was a perfect fit for the club at the time, wasn't it? And it was a perfect fit. Well, he's the type of manager that my style fitted him. So him and Willie Donachie, I got on so well with, and it was a duo. It was both of them. I know Joe gets all the plaudits, but Willie was his right hand man, and did a lot of things behind the scenes as well as in front in camera, and it was a great duo, really.
Well, what was did you feel like there was like an immediate mood shift once Joe came into the club? I know he was only in a few days, and then literally had to walk into the derby. And did you feel like there was a period where, okay, we're out of this now, we've got someone who, like you say, someone who understands the club, literally knows what Everton is and what it's like to be an Evertonian? Did it feel more?
Yeah, it's just his manner as well, and obviously, Joe Royle. We knew who Mike Walker was, but Joe Royle was Joe Royle. That everyone had that instant respect. He came in, said the right thing straight away. We had that sort of week and a bit, because it was international week, that we could all train together. It's the famous saying where all managers say, "You're all fighting for places now. Everyone's a fresh start," and that's what happened. And we really worked out. So that was a great opportunity for him, that he got to know everybody. Obviously, he knew who we were, but he didn't see us face to face, and he could see how we trained. And he had a good week, really, to get to know everyone, put his arm around the right people, tell certain people the right things, and probably more importantly, pick the right sides.
That's it. I think you look at those 3 games. It was Liverpool, Leeds, and then Chelsea, wasn't it? Where we picked up 9 points in those 3 games. They were vital for the start of what what was then to be one of our most successful seasons in a long time. But the majority of the season was still a bit of a scrap, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't just a case of we got those 9 points and we started pulling away from the pack. We were still lingering around 19th, bottom of the league for, right up until like January when we started picking up the points. And we had that little period where we picked up a few draws and the odd win. It was still, FA Cup was coming up, but we are still fighting for Premier League survival, if you like, as well.
That's right. Especially with the 3-point system, it's brilliant when you win. But if you draw, it's 2 points you dropped, haven't you? Not the one. So when then draws were happening, other teams were winning, and it just kept us down there. But we had that belief. Not just saying it. We knew we'd be safe. We just wanted it done quicker than we actually did. But we were always really positive in the fact that we'll get out of this. Teams were not wanting to come and play us. We were very beat. We could beat anyone on our day. And luckily, other teams started to fear, especially coming to Goodison.
Yeah, and I know the phrase was coined for you, John Eberl, and Barry Orn as the Dogs of War. Did you like that nickname? Did you like that? Associated because you can play football as well, though, Joe. That was the thing.
Yeah, I don't mean that. It means people are talking about you. I mean, Joe really like the saying, but me and Barry speak about it. I don't really see John much these days, but we speak about it that other players are probably thinking about, we've got to go and play the Dogs of War now. Just put that little bit of doubt in other players' minds, I suppose. It gave us a lift. It gave me a lift. And we still talk about it today, which is fantastic on my behalf. So, I made up with it. And to be fair, it was my game. It was probably saying that just suited me down to the ground. All the three of us, really. And it was something that we needed in the team. So, it was perfect for us.
Good. So as we're moving into January, then we're still trying to pick up these points, but then obviously we're moving into the early rounds of the FA Cup, and what was to be, the one of the best cup runs for any team. Only conceding the one goal in the whole of the cup. What are your apart from, I'll talk about Norwich as well, but your abiding memories of like just thinking we've got results at home and we got a result, away from home in the league. So you weren't fearing anyone. Was that the kind of the cup run was added to it, and that gave you that impetus and that confidence a bit more, I suppose?
Yeah. We went to Bristol, should have been 10-1. We rode our luck, and I think coming off them, we thought we've got something here. We're back through everything, and we've just won a difficult tie. We can go on and win that, and seriously, all the way through, I thought we're gonna do it. Really confident in the final, very confident in the semi-final. I think the harder games were before that. I think the Castle game was a difficult one. Norwich obviously was a good performance, but there was just something about that we thought we're going to do this. And I think Barry will say the same. We were disappointed that Tottenham scored a goal. That was the only blemish on it all. But including the final. And it's not being blasé, but we honestly think we could beat them because we beat them a few weeks before. And they didn't like playing us. They were all the superstars. There's no point saying we were just as good as them. They're a miles better team than us. But on the day, we knew we could beat them. And then luckily that's what happened.
I think you could feel that. You could even if you're looking at the semi-final, but even looking at the games before that, like you say, in there, Bristol could have been absolutely wiped the floor with us. But even the game against Newcastle, where Waggy scores, but Newcastle were on top for a large periods of that game, and I think we looked like we did struggle, but it's that resilience that we'd shown. The Dogs of War, the whole mentality, Joe's stamp on the game, and just work hard, be what you see and what you want from an Everton side, isn't it? You want to see a hard-working team that digs in. If we get in front, we'll make sure we're not conceding goals. Right. And I think moving into the Norwich game was like, okay, well, the shackles were almost off, and we were just given a little bit of like, okay, well, you've had your hard games. This will give you, it was a solid result against Norwich, 5-0. You getting on the score sheet as well. It was just like that. I think we just needed that. Well, there's a bigger confidence boost for for the semi-final and stuff like that. And what can you tell us about the semi-final then, Joe? Because obviously that's up there as one of Joe's best performances as a team.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything clicked that day. I remember obviously travelling to the ground on the coach and only ever seeing blue. You know,
Yeah,
famously got the three sides. Tottenham got the brand new stand, but that just meant they're on one side. So all we saw was blue, and that was a massive lift. It really was. The fans are nuts. They're fabulous. I mean, we've seen that in the last few years, what they've done for this football club. And they did it that day as well. But in a more positive, you know, we're at a semi-final rather than fighting relegation. So, and I remember we're in the change rooms. The manager didn't really have to say much. We prepared well. He knew his team, and we all knew what we expected from each other. You know, we'd had the press. You know, everyone wanted Tottenham Man United Cup finals, perfect, and that was just perfect for us again. And then we're warming up. All you can hear is Everton. That's all you could hear. And then you see Tottenham coming out. Anderton's got a bandage on his knee. We're just thinking, we've got them. We really did. We thought that there's no way they're beating us at all as a group. You know, the midfielders especially, we just make sure we're getting into that, do this, do that. And it all just clicked as well, you know, because I think they got a penalty, which it shouldn't have been, but they had a chance straight after that, didn't they? I think it was Nethercott, if I remember right. I think Nev saved it, and then we go up the other end and score. And then the famous one of Tanamakachi coming on and doing what he did. But that was a perfect day in the fact that we showed we could play a little bit as well. Things clicked. We could battle. It was sort of an all-round game, really, and it was something the supporters deserved because they were absolutely fantastic that day. It was brilliant.
What was the thoughts with Amakachi? Because obviously we all know the famous he's basically subbed himself on. You know, Joe didn't really want to make the substitution. He was happy to put Paul Rideout back out. What was the feeling afterwards? It was like, how the fuck are you still on the pitch? How did you wangle your way onto the pitch and score goals? You know.
To be fair, we were just absolutely buzzing. I didn't realise that had happened. I thought he'd
Yeah.
actually come to substitute. So I don't think it was until the next day I realised or was found out that, you know, there was confusion over it, and he ended up coming on and scoring 2 goals. I think I had a bit of a headache as well because we knew how to party. Straight after that, we were straight into town as a group, and that's what made our team so good. The team spirit. You know, it was after that, you know, we all went out together and we made sure we celebrated together, and you know, that just builds up, and it really does. No matter what standard of football, Sunday League football, when you have your nights out, it brings the team together, and it was we had, and it just gave us that little extra 10%, you know. And like I said, teams didn't like playing us, or if we were going there, they didn't want us going there because they knew they were in for a really tough game. No matter if the football weren't great from us, they knew they would have to work really hard to get any result off us.
Yeah. And then the big one, I suppose, then the FA Cup final, May 20th, 1995. I was there. And, you know, it's, you know, the last time we actually come away with some silverware. You know, I know that's probably something at a certain point you'd be proud of. Obviously, yes, you've won the FA Cup, but you'd like someone else to have won it after you now, I suppose.
Yeah, it's weird. People, when FA Cup comes round, they always say you were in that last team, and that makes me smile. It's fantastic. So to be part of that last team, to have won something, is something really special, but it's something that needs breaking. It'll be a sad day for me when they do it, but I'll be there cheering on when they do it, and I'll be so pleased. You know, all my family's blue. Season tickets all sorted for next year. It's just an amazing club, and it was an amazing sort of achievement to play for the club and realise what Everton is all about: the place, the players, the club, and the fans. It's just a brilliant time.
Amazing. You know, Joe, I'm gonna leave it at that, because obviously we go into the following season, and you know, you had a season, but you played with injuries and everything else, so it's probably not probably a sore point with you, really, just the way your career fizzled out. But I think, you know, these memories are the ones that the Evertonians cherish the most. You know, and like I said, you were one of my favorite players as a kid growing up, and you know, to hear stories about, you know, well, I'm an FA Cup winner. You know, that's brilliant. That's what people want to hear, and that's the kind of thing you want to hear about Everton. Everton, you know, you won the FA Cup, okay, no one else has done it yet, but we want the additional stories from, someone like Seamus. Do you know what I mean? Someone like
Yeah.
Jordan Pickford winning the FA Cup, and then 5 years down the line, I'm having the same interview with these lads. At this,
You've all
I think
forgotten about it then, haven't you?
that's it. That's it. And then
It'd
you
be
just
great
you just
that way,
you just
absolutely.
you want it all for your club, but you just think that I think this team now needs something. The team that we've got there has been together long enough. There's players that have been at the club long enough that deserve these kind of awards, these kinds of a trophy or something. And the club does, the fans do.
Yeah, I
But
think hit you on the head there. I feel more sorry for you were there. There's a massive generation that haven't seen anything football club, and they've been an amazing supporting group the last few years. Surpassed everything I've ever seen in what you've
yeah,
done to keep the team over the line to keep us in this league. And it's the younger ones coming through. I haven't seen that success. You could see how they loved all the blue stuff that was going on, the flares. Just imagine if we were good. As simple as that.
imagine if we won something. Exactly. I've always said if we won something, you wouldn't see me for a month.
No, it's so you do feel sorry for them, and it's not having a good cup run; it's winning a cup. It's all right saying
Yeah,
a cup run. You haven't won anything. Let's go and win something.
in the thing. Yeah, exactly.
Who knows? Because I'm sure before the draws when we won it, there's no way everyone thought that Everton were going to win the FA Cup the year we did. So it's out there, isn't it? Why not?
That's it. I think do you think then with David Moyes coming back to the club that is I don't know if it's going to be this season, but maybe if he stays long enough past what we're thinking is the 2.5 years, do you think there's an opportunity there for Moyes to finally get what he should have got at Everton before he left? Because obviously we had those 10 years there when he was at Everton. We had so many ups and downs. We had, cup finals, we had cup semi-finals, or just always the also rans and the nearly theirs. Do you think Moyes has got an opportunity to
Yes,
bring that back?
yeah, it probably has, and it's strange that and I was probably one of them the last time when we was getting beaten semi-finals and getting beaten finals. I was thinking, do we need another manager? Because we're not quite there all the time. And then look what happened when he did leave. The
Yeah,
club's been downward spiral. It's sort of like maybe what West Ham are thinking now. We got rid of a good manager, and at the time, I don't think we realised how good a manager he was for us. We were fighting for things rather than fighting to stay in leagues, early cup exits, things like that. So I think it's been a great addition to get him back. I also like to say I think Sean at the time when he first come was great for us, keeping us up. But I just thought the football was getting a little bit, it was a little bit too predictable, and you be slightly entertained. And I think it was probably the right time to change. And we've got someone who totally, gets the club, fits the club, and if he has another 10 years of us pushing for Europe, and we're gutted that we're not getting in finals because we've missed the semi. I'd rather be doing that than still bottom of the league fighting for our lives.
yeah, yeah. You take that any day of the week, wouldn't you? Of course.
But we
So,
still
so yeah. So moving into the new stadium, Joe, have you been down there much? Have you been in the stadium to look
no,
around?
it's a strange one because my niece's fellow was one of the top guys at Lango Rock, and we never got it right where I could do it and he could take us round. So I haven't been. The missus and my daughter are mad blues. We're desperate, to go and see. I've missed out on the 18s game, the first event, the test event. So I'm hopefully going to get the next one. But I drive past it virtually every day. Once I've took my daughter to school, then get to work, I go past it, and I've watched it over the years. Turn into an amazing stadium. So pleased I've got my season tickets, and I just can't wait. I really can't. It's a massive boost for the club, massive boost for the fans. But we just got to make sure we're in the right league. And
Yeah, exactly that. So I'll finish up now, Joe. And it's been an absolute pleasure having a chat with you. And I'm sure we'll have plenty more to chat
yeah,
about in a few weeks at the Falcon. But I just want to leave a question then. So I mean, I could wax lyrical all day about it, but what does Everton mean to you? as you know, as a as a fan, just and then the moving into the new stadium and things like that. What does Everton mean to you, just on a personal level?
In a quick word, it's everything. It's my football life. It's given me my best times, my most proudest times of my football career. So it is everything for me. I'm just absolutely delighted to still be working at the club, still be in the lounges every home game to watch the team. It's been a struggle, but I just every fan that will be watching this, we love the club, don't we? And it's hard work, and we've had some tough times, haven't we? But it's made us stronger.
You get back up and just carry on for another day.
I can't, but no, they'll buy the season tickets again. They come and support us, sell out home and away. It's tremendous. So Everton to me is everything.
Fabulous. Okay, Joe, I'm gonna leave it at that. But I would just again like to say thank you so much for joining me. And please make sure you like and subscribing to the channel. As always, we appreciate it. Until then, up the fucking toffees, Colin Chong, Joe. Thank you very much.
Brilliant.